Hello and welcome back to Emotionless, the mental health podcast. Welcome back. My name is Logan. As always, I am your host for this lovely episode. Now, this episode is going to be one of two things. Ridiculously long, like an hour, probably closer to 2, or it's going to be like 8 15-minute parts. It really will ultimately depend on what YouTube wants to let me do. I'm cool with either one, but it will ultimately depend on what YouTube wants to let me do. So today, I'm going to give I've already, as you've watched in the video, given you a written trigger warning. I'm going to go ahead and give you a verbal trigger warning too, because what I'm about to talk about is very scary, is very not normal, and is very upsetting to a lot of viewers. So if you are in any way, shape, or form triggered by nudity, by sexual harassment, by sexual assault, by mentions of sexual assault, by Title IX, by college, by toxic friends, by a whole boatload of things, please turn off this video, and please do not watch this series. I cannot beg that enough of you, because I do not want anyone to be triggered or upset, because I could not live with myself if I had upset or hurt one of you guys. Alright, with that being said, let's dive right in. So, a lot of colleges have different policies in place to protect their students, to make sure everyone feels safe, to make sure everyone is doing good, make sure nobody's being hurt, nobody's being upset, nobody is getting assaulted, or is having anything happen to them that they don't want to have happen to them. And I think that still goes for my college, and I think the intention is there, the execution is poor. So Title IX. Let's talk about what Title IX is, what Title IX covers, what that's about. So Title IX is a federal civil rights law in the United States of America that was passed as part of the Education Amendments of 1972. It prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or other education program that receives federal money. And what that also means, basically... Okay, wow. Actually, this is going to take a little bit of a different turn, because that is not what I was told when the Title IX case that I'm going to get into was opened against me. I was told that Title IX has to do with sexual harassment, and or assault. Okay, cool. So I was told a complete lie. Wow, my college told me another lie. What a fucking surprise. Not really, actually, because lying is kind of their pastime. And we'll get into that in more episodes later. Anyways, so what my school told me that Title IX covers is, they told me that Title IX covers sexual assault, sexual harassment, etc., blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't know how true that is, based off of what I just read. So I'm currently actually on my college's website. Well, actually, I should say ex-college, because I dropped out, because they suck and they're the worst. And I hope they watch this, and I hope they get upset. Like, get upset. Get triggered. Hey, you know what? If you don't suck ass, I won't say that you suck ass. Like, it's kind of that simple. If you're not a horrible, terrible, awful, no good, horrible college that doesn't treat their students with respect and literally fucks with your students' minds, maybe I wouldn't be so upset. God, maybe I should just look it up. Sorry, this is taking a moment. I was not really planned. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh and like take light of a scary situation, but right here it says there's an article about mental health emergencies. Other than the counseling center and my learning specialist, The college treated my mental health like a fucking joke. They did not care about my mental health. They don't care about the mental health of anyone there. They don't care about the mental health of the girl who got me in this situation. Because I know that my mental health wasn't the only one affected. I know her mental health was affected. And I know this fucked her up for life. Because the college made this into such a thing that it shouldn't have been. You know why? Because they were bored. They were bored. Student health services. We'll get into that in another episode. Let me tell you, there's a lot of tea there. Alright, so I can't find it because they like to try to hide their tracks because they're shady ass bitches. But again, we will get into that in another episode at a later time. But basically, I had, kind of been vibing, and I was supposed to go to Hawaii. Now, this actually does play a role in the story. There is a woman, again, I'm not going to bring anyone's name into this, who is called the Title IX coordinator and deals with all things Title IX. She also is in charge of a lot of other things. Like, I don't know. Her role never really made sense to me, and I never really understood it. But we're going to move past that. So, she tells me, Logan, I need you to come in for a meeting at 1 o'clock on Thursday or Friday the 12th. Can you make it? I'm like, yep, I can do that. I will be there at 1 o'clock. So, I'm packing all my shit, getting ready for my meeting, whatever. I'm going in it. Of course, I'm nervous out the wazoo. Because I'm thinking this is in trouble because, like I mentioned earlier, I was supposed to go to Hawaii. You're supposed to clear all travel with the school. So I did. And they said, yeah, I cleared it about a month in advance. I sat down to have a meeting. And I said to them, hey, my family wants to go to Hawaii. We're going to celebrate my brother's 18th birthday and high school graduation. Can you do this? And they're like, yeah, we'll take a look into it. We're a little worried because you'll be getting back right around midterms, which might be a little awkward, but we'll take a look into it and we'll email you with our approval or denial of your request to leave. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I leave. I don't think anything of it. They harassed me about a couple of other things, but again, we'll get into that in another episode. And so I'm, waiting. 1 week passes, 2 week passes, 3 weeks pass, 4 weeks pass. And then the week of the trip comes, and I still haven't heard anything. And at this point, I told my mom to cancel my ticket because I was supposed to take a special COVID test to ensure that I was healthy for the trip. And they never gave me permission, so I didn't want my mom to waste $150 on this test. And so then then my grades slowly start to decline because I get really depressed. My mental health starts to decline. I know my counselor started to get really worried about me. My friends thought I was going to hurt myself or end my own life, and I would be lying if I said I didn't have thoughts of it. I would be lying if I said I didn't make an attempt, but we will again get into that in a later episode. Anyways, so, I'm working, I'm trying to get this done, and, I'm just trying to get as much stuff as I can done, trying to get all my homework caught up, and I get it, I go to check my email from my professors, and I see an email from the Title IX coordinator, so I click on it, I open it up, and it says, can you come into a meeting? And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. What time? She's like, does XYZ date work at 1 o'clock? I'm like, cool, let's do it. I will see you then. I will have a copy of my contract. We'll be good to go. And, I'm not really thinking anything big of it. I'm not really thinking anything's going to happen. I'm not really thinking, honestly, I think she's going to yell at me for my contract like she normally does. Like an angry monster. Well, she was calm about it, but she's definitely passive aggressive. And again, get into that in a later episode. But she, she sits me down and she goes, so even though we told you not to, you've been continuing to hang out with this girl. I'm like, correct, because I'm a free man. I can do as I please, and we've been fine. And she's like, but this was against your contract, blah, blah. We'll get into the contract in a later episode. And I don't know. I was done. She goes, well, this girl has opened a sexual allegation against you, saying that you touched her and said things to her and were harassing her. And, of course, I'm balled over shocked. I'm absolutely pissed at this point. I'm literally shaking, crying, because I think I'm going to get kicked out of the school for this. And I'm like, okay, what does this mean? And, well, she tells me that it means that I have to go through a case hearing in a trial. And I'm like, all right, cool. How do I do that? And she's like, oh, it's going to take months. It's going to take months? What do you mean? I got really upset. Sorry. She, again, come back for part 2 where we will continue this.